Lord God, source of all that is good.
May 15th, 1967 started as a hot Monday morning. Soldiers from the 101st Airborne were battling hundreds of heavily armed North Vietnamese in a rural riverbed. Our men were outnumbered. They needed support fast, helicopters to get the wounded out and bring more soldiers into the fight. Half a century ago, Chuck is the reason they lived. But under withering fire, Chuck landed his chopper and kept it there, exposed, so the wounded could get on and so that he could fly them back to base. A second time, Chuck went back into the valley. He dropped off more soldiers and supplies, picked up more wounded. Once more, machine gun bullets and mortar rounds came screaming after them. As he took off a second time, rounds pierced the arm and leg of Chuck's door gunner, Roland Schenck. Chuck's Huey was hit. Fuel was pouring out as he flew away. But Chuck had wounded men aboard and decided to take his chances. He landed, found another helicopter, and flew Roland to the field hospital. By now it was near evening. Back in the riverbed, 44 American soldiers were still pinned down. He still looks sharp as a tack in that uniform. I pointed out he obviously has not gained any weight. For a third time, Chuck and his unit headed into that hell on earth. Death or injury was all but certain, a fellow pilot said later, and a lesser person would not return. Once again, the enemy unloaded everything they had on Chuck as he landed. Small arms, automatic weapons, rocket-propelled grenades. Soldiers ran to the helicopters. When Chuck was told all were accounted for, he took off. And then, mid-air, his radio told him something else. 8 men had not made it aboard. All these years later, we could still fully recognize Chuck Kettles' heroism as we do today. So he broke off from formation, took a steep, sharp, descending turn back toward the valley, this time with no aerial or artillery support. A lone helicopter heading back in. Chuck's Huey was the only target for the enemy to attack, and they did. Tracers lit up the sky once more. Chuck came in so hot that his chopper bounced for several hundred feet before coming to a stop. As soon as he landed, a mortar round shattered his windshield. Another hit the main rotor blade. Shrapnel tore through the cockpit and Chuck's chair. Landed, found another helicopter, and flew Roland to the field hospital. Couldn't make this up. This is like a bad Rambo movie. Right? You're listening to this, you can't believe it. 42 other Americans he saved are not etched in the solemn ground. So the Army's warrior ethos is based on a simple principle. A soldier never leaves his comrades behind. Chuck Kettles honored that creed, not with a single act of heroism, but over and over and over. And because of that heroism, 44 American soldiers made it out that day. 44.
The whole mission was worth it simply, if nothing else, to get those 44 men out of there. It was successful in that regard, to minimize the losses. And that's the only thing that really matters out of all the detail.